So today we're talking about igniting and sustaining a consistently profitable process. And the reason why I break it down that way is because I think most people are only addressing this problem, like I said, from one of two angles. Either they're trying to find that consistency or they're trying to maintain it, but they can't get both of them to sync up together. So today, that's what we're going to address. Like I said, the first thing we're going to talk about is these two fuck-ups, and that's what they are. They're not mistakes, they're not hiccups, they're fuck-ups. They're two fuck-ups that most traders make, and I'm going to show you how to avoid them. After we talk about that, we're going to talk about finding the consistency to ignite this process, to really get it going, and what details go into that. Once we talk about how you find the consistency, then we're going to talk about maintaining it, building that consistency out into something that actually turns into a trading business. So before we get into everything, I want to make sure we're on the same page. Shut off Facebook, shut off your cell phone. I'm really doing a lot with this webinar to make sure that you guys take actionable value out of it. I want you to feel that this is not some fluffy thing where I try to just sell you something at the end. I'm going to be upfront and always tell you, of course, there's a sale offer at the end, but I'm limiting that to only 15 people, and I'm going to give away these two monitors when we get to that point as well. But I'm not here just to give you that sale offer. There's going to be real value here. So again, my cell phone's off, your cell phone better be off, Facebook's off, trading platforms off, full focus here. Get into it. So today's goal, like I said, is to ignite and sustain the consistently profitable process. So what does that mean? I want you to first picture your brain being lit with a match. That's our ignite. And what the ignite of that system is actually finding your edge. And edge is going to be broken down in today's webinar into a few specific details that I'm going to show you that you need to have if you're actually going to maintain, like I said, that consistently profitable process. Once you ignite it, we want to sustain it. We want to water the brain. And what goes into sustaining there and maintaining that process is having the right habits, having control over your emotions, having this drive for learning, this growth mindset, and then a couple other things like chart markups, accountability. We're going to talk about all of that as we go through. But it's two parts here. It's igniting, which is finding the system, finding your edge, and then it's sustaining, implementing this growth mindset. That's going to lead you to a consistently profitable trading business. And that's why all 104 of you, or however many it is, are here today, right? Everybody wants to understand how to find more consistency in your trading. If that's why you're here, type yes in the chat. Let's see. Is that what we're looking for? Consistency. Yes, please. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Good. I just want to make sure that's why you guys are here, because I want to make sure you're going to get value out of this. Awesome. Okay. So let's talk just for a second. I want to give you guys a little background on me and how I got into trading. I knew from a very young age, I mean, I was like 13, I think, when I took my mom's jewelry and I tried to sell it at a garage sale. I knew that I was definitely different. Like where my head at was different. Stop laughing at me. It's true. Ask my mom. So I knew that there was something different, and I was very hungry to make money. I was very hungry and motivated to try to have more money than everybody else around me because I knew that it gave me freedom. And I saw a few years later in my life that if you didn't have money and shit hit the fan in life, you would potentially end up on the street, literally. So throughout my life, the experiences that I've had have shown me that I don't want a 9-to-5 job. I don't want that typical, structure of a life that everybody thinks they want. I knew I wanted unlimited income potential because I knew that could generate freedom for me. And I also knew that I wanted to travel and enjoy life because at the end of the day, we're all going to end up dead, right? And I think that a lot of you guys who follow me on Instagram, who follow me on social media, you can relate to me in that. We all have this drive to go create financial freedom for ourselves because we know at the end of the day, we're not living forever. Even if we're able to plug into Elon Musk's Neuralink computer and upload and live in the cloud forever, I'm not banking on that. I'm banking on trying to live my life as best I can now. And what that means to me is having the financial freedom to do it. I think you guys probably agree with me, right? So like I said, I'm no different than you guys. I started trading when I was in college. That was about 2015. And it took me 18 months to become consistently profitable. There was very, very little mentorship. Like the quick little story I can give you about this part of my trading career was I bought a course from 2 different people. It was the same course in different languages. So I bought one from these French guys. I couldn't understand a single thing they were saying, and one from these guys from a country that I didn't even know where it was on a map. And I still couldn't work with them. So there was very little mentorship around me to actually get started trading the right way. So I spent a shit ton of money on education courses from Tim Sykes and Cameron Foose and all these stock trading guys and options trading guys and signal services. I tried everything to get consistent, but I couldn't find it. So after going through all of that and I also spent a lot of money just blowing accounts with an unregulated broker, I finally ate enough shit that I was able to realize what was right and what was wrong, and I started to find consistency. And that consistency came in 2016. So I've got two pictures here. This is when I started to really find that patterns and technical analysis worked in the Forex market. I didn't have an exact reason for that yet, which I find later in my career, but I knew these patterns were making me money. So you see, this is a picture of me getting some guys signed up back in 2016. That was a picture on Instagram back in December of 2016, one of my first trades with my regulated broker. You can see that positive slippage there. That was when I actually decided to make the switch from Trader's Way, where I was just blowing a $40 account, a $100 account, a $500 account, just blowing these accounts with their crazy leverage. I finally made the switch over to the regulated broker in 2016. A year later, I had built up a pretty good following on the internet, as you guys have seen, and I started to run webinars just to show people what I was doing that was allowing me to become financially free through trading. But I wasn't satisfied with my reach. So you see there's a picture of me running a webinar in my house in Philly when I lived in Philadelphia. This is an Instagram photo just of results of people that I was helping trade. You can see this was back in, what's the date on that? July 26, 2017. So this was the 2017 into 2018 where I started to build traction, and that led me to the opportunity to work in New York remotely. I still lived in Philadelphia, but I was working with a firm on Wall Street, and that did help me reach more people. They were a huge firm, and they were able to really help me learn a lot. It was a great learning experience. But ultimately, we ended up breaking off and going off on our own. And that's partially, if not fully, due to Riley. She motivated me. She believed in me more than anybody else. Like, of course, the story changes with a girl, but it's the corny thing, but it's true. She motivated me. She's like, you can do this on your own. We can do this together. We can be that mom and pop, digital entrepreneur shop that people respect. And that's what we've done since 2019. We've hosted our first seminar. You see the picture of Riley there. I got to meet Brett Steenbarger, who's like a trading legend. So just a lot of cool stuff has happened in 2019. And now here you see, this is my desk where I'm standing right now. 2020, we have 225. Actually, this morning we had another person push through, people in our VIP chat. And my focus right now is just two things: continue to coach traders, people like yourselves, get them educated, get them started the right way trading Forex, and then continue to live my life with Riley and go enjoy things. A lot of you know we do travel a lot. We get to enjoy it. And that's part of why I got into trading in the first place. So cool. Now you got the background on me. For those of you that don't know, just a little short story of how I got here. It's been a process, 5 years in the making, but like things have actually really turned, I would say, in the last 3 years, and I'm very, very grateful for it. I'm very grateful I can get 112 of you to come on here on a Saturday morning and talk with me about this stuff. So thank you. Now let's get into the content. Are we excited? Can anybody relate to my story in any way? Let me check the chat here. Is my story relatable at all? I hope so, because like I'm not some fancy, like I dropped out of college. We kind of left that out of the story, right?
And you were a DJ for a long time.
And I was a DJ for a long time. Like entrepreneurial, but trading is where my heart is. Good. And again, like Cameron just said, we've all blown those accounts, right? And we're going to talk about that right now when we talk about the two things that fucked you up. Like I remember when I started with Trader's Way, not to go back on this too much, but like we could probably, if I like did the recover your password thing and like searched it, we could probably go find this for sure, right? I think my first few accounts were like $35, $45, $35, right? Like you don't know any better at that point. And a lot of you guys came into Forex that way. You're like, you see those brokers with the 1 to 1,000 leverage and you end up trying to flip $100 into 1,000, we all get suckered into that. But what we're going to talk about today is how you can avoid that. I want everyone here after this call today to be able to avoid that, to not fall into that pitfall. And then we're going to put this content out. This is the message that we push so we can prevent new traders from making the same mistakes that I made. Like if I had that $18,000, $20,000 that I lost in my first year and a half, I mean, not that it would be life-changing money, but it'd be really nice for us to have the other 20 grand right now. All right, so this way. The first fuck up. This is where I think most people start trading on the wrong foot. They come in with an idea of what they think trading is, but they're so far gone from what it actually is on a substance level. And at its core, trading has to be done with a profitable system. So what is that? A system is a predetermined set of rules that reduce the potential for emotional decision-making to happen when you're placing a trade. Follow me? So the system is the set of tested rules. What makes that system profitable is it has to go through what I consider a 3-step testing process. The first test is the back test, which can either be done through a computer program. I don't do it that way. I did it through chart markups, by hand, collecting thousands and thousands and thousands of trades, thousands of winners, thousands of losers to come up with averages. Then, once you have that back testing, you can take the system that might now be profitable and put it to a demo account, right? This is the logical progression of how you should go about testing a system. Once you find it, you back test it, you do those chart markups, you find the idea, you take it to the demo account. You put the fake money behind it because it doesn't make sense to put real money into a market when you don't know if that's actually going to work yet. But once you can find consistency with the demo account, and I'd say 90 days is good. If you can prove within 30 to 90 days that you're making good money on a demo account, I would consider moving that strategy, that system, into live trading and putting your money to work. Now, this is what I want you to see it as. Riley blessed us with this beautiful graphic here. This is something that I'm going to start putting out a lot more. You're going to see this graphic very, very often. We're calling it the Consistently Profitable Trader's Blueprint. And what it does is it shows you how I need you to envision in your mind where your edge fits in with these profitable systems. So I just told you that most new traders fuck up. The number one fuck up is that they don't trade with a system. Well, I'm showing you right here, these are my 3 systems, right? The A1, the D1, and the D2. If you follow me or if you trade with us, you know these are the systems. Within those systems, you have the entry rules, the exit rules, the risk management rules. We're going to talk about that in a second. And that's your edge. We're going to get into edge as we go forward here too. But I want you to visualize what a playbook looks like being filled with systems. And within those systems, you have precise rules, and that creates your edge, okay? So this is where most people fuck up. They don't have a playbook, they don't have predetermined rules, and they don't have systems. So if you're starting out or if you're struggling, the first thing you can do is avoid this by finding a system. And we're going to talk about that in a second. The second failure, the second biggest fuck up is that people don't implement a growth mindset. And I know that sounds like, oh, here we go, we're going to get into the rah-rah, but we're not. Follow me here for a second. I think that in any industry, the highs can be amazing. You could be crushing your trades, or in this photo here, you're pumping out cars, you're Ford or you're Toyota or whatever you are, you're pumping out cars, like you're killing it, right? But then on the assembly line, maybe a broken door comes. Just like in making these cars with your trading, if you implement a growth mindset, the loss of that door and then having to replace the door and put, just throw it away, they lost the cost of whatever it was to make that door. They don't let that distract them from the bigger picture of trying to produce a fleet of vehicles, right? Because they have a growth mindset. So the same way you can use this visualization here into your trading is that one loss is insignificant if you're trying to build a long-term trading business. If you're trading with a system, all of what we're talking about today, the caveat is that you have to be trading with the system. And that's why we're going to go into more detail into that now. So the growth mindset to me looks like 2 things. I think you have to show up every single day to be better than you were yesterday, which means that you have to focus on at least one thing every week that you should be trying to grow in, trying to get better in, whether it's managing your trades better in the sense that you want to hold your winners longer, or maybe it's getting your entries even better. Maybe it's not getting into trades too early. One thing every week that you can focus on will help you show up every day with the focus on getting better at that. And on top of that, the second thing that a growth mindset does, or what it looks like, is that you are following a set of rules as closely as you can, because you know that in the long run, where that growth mindset lives, those rules will lead you to profitability. And again, that goes back to what I just showed you with the visualization. The individual outcomes here are irrelevant if the system is profitable. And I think tracking your business is huge. The more that you analyze, the deeper that we can go into these details, the more you're going to be able to correct them faster, change them, like basically throw them out of your trading habits, and move forward at an even faster rate. And on top of that, I think tracking your business is really important because it allows you to not run from your insecurities. For me, I know when I started trading, I didn't use my FX book. I didn't use any of these tracking platforms that we have available to us now. That basically led me to taking, let's just say I would take 5 trades in a day as I'm just learning, first year and a half. I take 5 trades. 3 of them might have been on system, but the 2 that weren't, what I would do was I would be like, I was just testing something. I don't need to worry about that. That's fine. But by doing that, I was slowly building bad habits. But had I been tracking myself and seeing those trades every day, like you do on my FX book or whatever platform you use to track it, you could use TraderView. By doing that, I was building these bad habits. So instead, I should have been tracking it and not running from the insecurity of me being too aggressive and taking these trades that were off edge. I hope that makes sense. Now, on top of tracking, we live in this data-driven age, right? I mean, everything is tech. I got an iPad here, I got an iPhone, iMac, like technology's everywhere. We got the Bluetooth, 5G, 6G, everything. What makes you think that you can treat your trading business with anything less than an analytical mind? Because any business tracks everything. If you go back to the pictures of the cars that were being produced on the assembly line, they track every little detail, not just of their inventory, but of even their employees. Everything they track for improvements, to analyze, to grow. So why would you not treat your trading business that way? And lastly, I think about the growth mindset, that's really important. And I put a rose on here because a lot of people have told me that I need to work on this. And that's why I'm sharing it with you guys. Off-chart activity really, really matters. Now, I do a good job at the physical fitness and the mental health. You guys see that on my Instagram and stuff like that. Like, I'm always in the gym. I'm always making sure that I'm taking a little bit of time off work to stay balanced. And that has really helped. But where I think I need to slow down even more and stop and smell the roses is in other things like my diet and my sleep, giving myself, my body, that time to relax, to recoup, to then come back stronger. Because we're going to talk about it in a little bit here with the chart markups. The reps in the gym, the work on the chart that you do, you have to think of it like an exercise. And if you go to the gym every day and do bicep curls, you're not going to grow big biceps. You have to give your muscles days off to rest. Your body and your mind is the same way with trading. And for me, I know some of you in here have that alpha where you'll shut down and you'll be like, yo, I'm working for 3 days straight. I'm going to just keep trading and make my money back. I'm going to jab at it. You can't let your brain convince you that your body has no limitations. And I've done that, and it led me to getting really sick before. So you have to be able to pull yourself off. And one thing that you could take right now, if you're writing this down, stop trading at a certain time every day. Just stop yourself. And if you're tracking your data, right, you can actually see when you start losing money on a time frame basis every day. And then you can maybe say, hey, look, I actually lose more money than I make if I trade after 12 o'clock. I'm going to stop trading after 12 o'clock. Just doing that first step right there can move you in the right direction towards finding more balance in your biology, is what I call it. Now, this is really important. We touched on this a little bit, but we all love to live in the clouds, like just envisioning the future of what trading can do for us, the car, the trips, this, that, the financial freedom for your family, building your mama house, buying a cat, whatever it is for you, right? We can all live in the clouds, but what we have to do with trading is not live in the clouds. We need to be very realistic. You need to stay grounded. And that goes into your expectations. We all think that with small money and high leverage with those unregulated brokers, we're going to get great returns. But in reality, small money and high leverage is going to lead you to blown accounts. We already talked about it. I've been there. Most of you have been there. And that's why you're here. You're trying to find consistency. So you need to realize that you've built a bad habit. You need to realize that you tried to go for a shortcut. I had to accept this. Once you do accept that, once you accept that you were trying to be, when you're trying to finesse the game almost, settle back and say, wait a minute, I need to take my time with this. This is a long-term process, because if it's as good as I think it is, why do I think it's going to come that fast? So those are the two fuck-ups that I think most people make, right? The first one is that they're not trading with the system. The second one is that they're not implementing a growth mindset. Does everybody follow me so far? Let's check the chat here. Everybody with me? Got more people on here? Good. Questions so far? Ryan, do we have anything that we need to cover again?
No.
Good. Awesome. So I'm tying this, like, this is why I told you guys I was very happy with this webinar. So we talked about the two things that fuck you up. Now we're going to talk about how to literally kill them, never even let them come into your trading, and how you're going to ignite and sustain this process. Remember the match on your brain and then watering your brain, those silly little graphics? Picture those right now, because that's what we're going to talk about next. So the first thing is these steps that I think you need to take towards consistent trading results. The first one is expose yourself to an edge. And I don't mean go run to a cliff like this and take your pants off. That's not what I meant by expose yourself to an edge. What I mean is that you need to have two things line up to build you this edge. The first one is that you need to have something that you do uniquely well and that you can repeat over a long period of time. And the second thing is that it has to be a system based off a specific set of detailed rules that are tested and proven profitable. So go back to what we talked about already, that 3-step testing process. If you want to call it an edge, it has to be unique, it has to be repeatable, and it has to be tested, and it has to have specific rules. That's where your edge then is like the cherry on top to your system. Then you can finally say, yes, here is the ice cream sundae, here is the system. Now, at a minimum, the rules need to detail your entry, your exit, and your risk management. Now, I need you guys to listen to me because I think most people are lacking here. They don't have a specific entry, they don't have a specific exit, and it really fucking makes me mad. I see it in my DMs. Like, I wish I had the picture still on my phone. I said to everybody just on my Instagram poll one day, what is your edge? You would not believe the amount of people that sent me something talking about their indicators, talking about this, talking about price action, just talking to me about everything that is not an edge. So what we're going to do now is I want you to envision this idea that if you're really going to pull a consistently profitable trading process together, it needs a system with detailed rules, and those detailed rules, that's your edge. That's what's going to make the system complete. And if you implement the growth mindset with that, that will lead you to consistency. It's a system with specific rules, with a growth mindset, not rushing it, that leads you to consistency. And like I said, people will tell me this is their edge. This indicator thing that they're looking at, this is their edge. Guys, this is not an edge. This is not unique. This is not repeatable. There's no precision here. There's no detail here. It is not an edge. So I've been saying the word rules a lot, right? What are these rules that you're talking about, Austin? Well, of course, the rules for our systems I teach in our courses, but some of my rules are just, for an example, what direction are the exponential moving averages telling me to trade it? What direction is the trader's dynamic index telling me to trade it? Those are two indicators that gather data from different points, and they help me read trend. So part of my rules in all of my systems, all three of them, and I'm going to tell you about them in a little bit, but part of my rules is to just determine trend. Then I ask myself, what's the average daily range? A logical question. Where could this pair go on an average day? How far, right? And then another one to get a little bit more specific now, are we still trading inside the Asian range? And of course, within these questions, this is only 4. In our systems, there's 13. We go through all 13 of those questions and they lead you to the highest probability trade. And that's why you use rules. That's why you need this edge. That's why you need this system. Now, 5 questions that every system should answer. I don't care if you love me and you love looking at my face and my shirts and our whatever, and you go buy a course from somebody else and you want to learn their system. You have to promise me that if you do that, you make sure that their system answers at least these 5 questions, at least, because otherwise it's just not a system, and then you're falling into the fuck up that everybody else gets trapped into, and you got sold on that guy's dream because he's got a Lambo in his homepage. The first question is, what's your entry signal? Now, it's not an EMA crossover. It's not when price does that. It needs to be very specific. On top of that, tell me about your stop loss and your take profit for that entry signal. Meaning, when that presents, when your A1 entry, that's what we call our bread and butter entry, when the A1 entry presents, where's your stop loss and take profit? Well, it depends on the higher. No, it doesn't. It should be based on math. There's no room for structure and feeling your way around the market. It should be based solely on math. How do you get that, Austin? How do you get that based on math? I hope you're listening. It's based on math because if we go back to the testing process, what was step number 1? Back testing. If you back test the system with this entry signal, you can figure out how far the average loser goes, how far the average winner goes, and then determine your stop loss and take profit right there. Like, again, guys, I dropped out of college. I'm not a fucking rocket scientist. I figured that out myself. It's not that illogical. It's not that hard to reason with. These are basic questions that every system should answer. The third one, how far does an average winning trade travel and how far does the average losing trade travel? Where should your stop loss and take profit idea be? What's the expectancy here? The fourth question is, what would be an early exit signal? If you take a trade, how do you know when you should get out of that trade? And the fifth question, what's the win rate? Are we talking 60%? Are we talking 90%? Are we talking 20%? Okay, and on top of that, what's your average risk reward ratio on these trades? Because if you're going to give me a 20% win rate strategy with 2-to-1 risk reward on the average trade, I don't want anything to do with that. So with just these 5 questions that I've given you here, they're basic as shit. They're not even giving you any detail. But if what you're doing active in the market every day can't answer these questions, you're not going to find consistency. You're not going to maintain consistency. So if you can't answer these 5 questions, pull the money out of the market right now. Stop trading it. You need to realize that without even just a basic understanding of your entry, your stop, your take profit, the average winner, the average loser, and the win rate, without just that, you're basically gambling. So let's put some of this together here with the ASFX systems. You've heard me probably on social media talk about the A1, the D1, the D2. So the A1, those are the breakout entries. That's what I've been trading since 2016, basically, right? Those are the bread and butter, the way we read the charts. That is the foundation for everything else we do. The D1 and the D2, they're a little bit more advanced. They're pullback entries. So the D1 is in trend, the D2 is a counter trend trade. So now with these three signals, with these three systems, remember that graphic, I have precise entries, precise exits, precise stop losses, precise take profits. It's detailed. And what that does is it allows it to be predefined so I don't make emotional decisions. Remember, what is the system definition? It gives you rules to pull the emotions out of your decision making. So again, you're seeing how all of this kind of comes full circle, right? What makes our systems unique is the combination, the way that they use price action and indicators to confirm trend, to confirm the structure, and then confirm the potential entry signal for us. Most people are either just using indicators or just using price action. Our systems use indicators. They're actually gathering data from two different sources. So it's not just indicators gathering data from the same source telling you the same shit. I'm gathering it from two different sources and I'm using price action. So it's actually like a three-pronged approach to finding the highest probability trade. That's what makes it unique. And on top of that, when we talk about the rules, that quote right there, what could be better? That's something that we ask ourselves every single time we're about to take a trade. And what that does is it says, okay, so the EMAs are telling me we could, possibly see this come lower, but what could be better? Well, it could be in a cleaner trend because of X, Y, and Z, other parameters, other probability factors of your trade. And that'll actually say, hey, maybe I don't need to be in this trade. I can find something better. That's what makes our systems unique. And on top of that, we're using a risk profile, which means that every setup has a predetermined grade. So now these systems, the D1, the A1, the D2, they have the rules, they have a way to grade them based on those rules. It tells me when I should enter and where my stop loss and take profit should be. And if I can grade them based on those probabilities, I can then give them a letter grade, A, B, or C, and that'll tell me how much risk to put on that trade. So now you should see it is complete. This whole picture is complete. The system gives you everything that you need to know how to place your trades. Now let's go over a few examples here. You guys follow me so far? Any questions so far before we get into an example? Good. Cool. All right, so I got a couple of trades here for you.
Someone said the risk profiles are based on the stats, right?
Absolutely. And the risk profile can be adjusted. So if I really like an A setup and it's on GBP NZD, a pair that I really like to trade, I would give that A setup a higher percentage than I would an A setup on CAD CHF, a pair that I don't really like to trade. So that's why if I go back to that slide, you can see it says like 2 to 4%, that variant in the percentage there, that's depending on the pair. So for like B setups, if it's a CAD pair, if it's a slower pair, something that I'm not as comfortable trading, it'll get a little bit less size versus something that I'm comfortable with. Like this is an example here. So a lot of you know I've been trading Euro CAD this month a lot. This goes back to the 13th. This was a D1 entry. I graded it as a C setup. So the risk there, if you go back again, C setups get about 0.5% to 1% risk. The risk here was 1%. And when it fell 4%, 27 pips, that you could see here, here, you could see my entry. That was the move that I was a part of. So the risk at 9 pips was 1%. It fell as far as 70, about 71, you can see down here in the bottom. But at 27 pips, the reward there is 4%. So if you're looking for 2 to 1, 3 to 1, you're looking at 1% risk to go make 2%. Here's another example. This is an A1 entry. This was an overnight trade on EuroCAD that I took short. The grade here, I gave it a B. So that told me that the risk would be 1% at 6 pips, and the potential reward was going to be 4% at 24 pips. And this ended up falling 33. You guys following this? So the risk is predetermined, the entry signal is predetermined, the grade is predetermined based on the parameters in the system. I hope you're seeing it as one full picture. I hope I'm doing a good job at making it a visual thing for you here. This was another EuroCAD trade. This was way back on the 4th of February. This is where I had the top of it and I closed this trade. You can see I had 3 positions on it, all 3 in profit. The best one was 55 pips in profit. At the entry, it was a D2 entry. So I gave it a C setup because it was a counter trend trade. That means I only put 0.5% of risk on it with a stop loss at 11 pips. When it fell 44 pips, that put 2% in my pocket, no problem. You can see it actually went a little bit further than that. And this was the move that actually carried through the whole month. So there's just a few examples to show you guys how I'm using the system to grade the setup, to give it a risk percentage, to use a predetermined stop and a predetermined take profit idea to basically remove all the emotions out of my trading. That's what the ASFX systems do. Now let's talk about maintaining the consistency, because we talked here just now about igniting it. So if you're taking notes, that section was the brain with the match on its head. Now we're going to move into watering your brain. What are you going to do to maintain the consistency? Because if you implement the system correctly, whether it's mine or someone else's, another profitable system, or even if you go test your own, like, I don't think anyone else is incapable of going and doing what I did. It just requires a lot of work. That's why no one else has done it. So no matter what system you're using, that system with the predetermined rules, with the predetermined risk, removing the emotion, that edge is what ignites the process. Now we're going to sustain it. Like I said before, what goes into this is getting better every day at its fundamental core. That's where your focus has to be. For me, Riley does a really great job at holding me accountable to doing chart markups every single day. This is a screenshot that I took a few days ago of my folder, just of my February markups. Like, this is just from February 19th till the 26th. I do a lot of chart markups of the same pairs on different time frames for all 3 entry signals, winners or losers. I document everything because these are my reps in the gym. This is where I'm getting stronger. This is where I'm getting sharper. If I don't do these, I get fat. No one likes you when you're fat. So get your mind right, and doing something even as small as marking up a couple of trade ideas can keep you sharp, keep the tool sharp, and keep you on the ball to hit that next one good trade. Here's an example of a chart markup that I did a couple of days ago. This was a GBP NZD trade. The recap for this is actually up on the YouTube channel now. You can see it's very detailed, where I took my entry, why I took my entry, how much risk I put on it, what was a potential early exit, where did I add to the position, when did I move my stops into profit. All of it is detailed here, so I can come back and learn from this, right? And I can say, what can I do better next time to make more money on this trade? Now, a lot of you guys see me on Instagram. I talk about this all the time, writing down your goals every day. Now, it's not just something that I say to be the entrepreneur of Forex or whatever, the Gary Vee of Forex. It's not why I'm doing it. It actually works. Let me explain why. If you write down your goals once, how likely are you to manifest it versus the guy who writes it down 365 times per year? If I'm writing my goals every single day, focusing in on what I want out of life and what I want my life to become every single day, how much more likely am I to manifest that and make that my reality versus the guy who only talks about it on January 1st? So when you write these goals, start them with I want, I need to, I will. They are going to be repetitive as you're writing them every day, but that's the point. You want to drive home the goals. Tell yourself every day, why am I waking up early to get this done before work? Why am I waking up early to study the chart markups if I don't want to? Why am I waking up early when I don't find a trade today? Why am I doing this? These goals are why you're doing it. And even to the point, we talked about this in the Philly seminar, adding the or else statement on the end. That creates an emotion to what will happen if you don't act towards these goals. So if you can write this down every day in just a simple little notebook, like I have my yellow notebook, it's almost full. What this will do is when you take a loss in your trading, you can come back and remind yourself why you're doing this. And that's so important to prevent you from chasing after bad trades, to breaking your edge, to going off plan. If you can remind yourself why you're here, remind yourself why you're showing up, you're way less likely to go break edge and go off plan. And something that I took from JD Frost, my accountant, he said, the simplest quote that I've ever stolen from anybody: in order to accomplish anything, you need to write down something. I was like, man, that's a dumbass quote. Of course you need to write down something. And I was like, wait a minute. The things that I say I want to accomplish, I'm not writing them down. But I'll write down stupid other shit like go get the dry cleaning. Why am I going to manifest that instead of manifesting, I want to help 20 new traders every month. I want to help become financial. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. And that's why I think writing them down every day is so important. Now, on top of the goals, and that's going to give you the thing to come back to help, again, sustain your consistency, daily journaling is very important. Not just your trades, tracking them through that MyFX book, tracking them through whatever platform you use to track your trades, but I think journaling the trades, telling yourself, how did you feel? How did you react? What were you thinking? What did you do before you traded? What did you do after you traded? Documenting those outside aspects, they're like the external factors, will give you something to go back to and say, hey, so this day where I made $13,000, what did I do that day? What did I have for dinner the night before? What did I do after the charts that day versus the day where I lost $10,000? What did I do that day? And you can see the things that actually might be on the exterior, but leaking into your house, corroding your house and causing you to fall off edge. So journaling is very important. And I think the thing you have to keep in mind here is you can't whitewash the good or the bad, okay? If you only journal about the bad things, you're building that negative internal self-talk, and that's not going to be productive for your future. In the same sense that you don't want to ignore the bad things like we talked about, you want to address your insecurities, you want to sit neutral, sit unbiased, right in the middle, and say, okay, what did I do good today? Well, my entry was fucking sick. Like I got in at the right time, I followed my rules, it was perfect. What could I do better? What did I not do great? Well, I didn't manage it well. I got out for no reason. I bitched out of this trade. Why did I bitch out of it? Well, I'm fearful of the money that I want to make. I need to pay my bills this month, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, maybe if I can detach from the money, I might have stayed in that trade longer. Wow, I just realized that because I was journaling. That's the kind of breakthroughs you'll start to have. So here's a template that you can use if you want. This is a trading report card. On the left side, you'll see this is the blank version. And on the right side, you'll see this is my trading, this is when I fill it up after a full trading day. So the dates at the top, I put the news for the day so I can remember that, my watch list of pairs, and then each trade that I take, I put the trade idea, I grade the setup, I grade my execution, and then I evaluate and give myself a grade. And then at the end of the day, I fill out the bottom part of this, which says, what did I do before I traded? Where was my mind during the session? And then what was the biggest lesson from my trading today? And I think that this is a great starting point. I'm not saying this is the best journal in the world. By far, it is not. But it's a great starting point for majority of you here who are not journaling already. This is great. So screenshot this and you can make a document. If you want me to, I'll even send you this document. Just email me. It's no problem. So journaling stems into the reason I like preface that before what I'm about to share with you now is because it stems us into the idea of accountability. It stems us into the idea of trader checkups, which means that you need to be getting feedback on your chart markups, feedback on your trades, feedback on your data that you're tracking from an experienced trader, from somebody who's already making money. If you're not getting feedback from somebody who's consistently making money trading, you're probably building bad habits without even realizing it. So getting the documentation to someone else to say, hey, can you look at this? Can you tell me, what do you think I could do better here? That is a huge step towards actually dropping bad habits and sustaining the consistency that you found with the system. You really have to pull the weeds out of your garden to maintain the profitable seeds that you planted. Accountability is something that I'm big on, right? With our VIP chat, I think you have to find a trading buddy. I tell everybody in the chat to partner up with somebody because I want everyone to have that person to say, hey, check me if I go off my rules. Check me if I trade a trade that doesn't fit the edge. Having that person, having that accountability is one step closer towards consistently profitable trading. Most of you are not talking to somebody else about your trading. Most of you are probably like how I was a few years ago, where you don't have anybody in your life really that even supports your trading, maybe other than your significant other. Your friends don't get it, your family don't get it, they think you're gambling, right? So find someone in a community that can actually hold you accountable with an unbiased perspective. And I think that on top of that, you want to consume the content that's going to cultivate a growth mindset. Consume the kind of content like the Gary V entrepreneurial kind of content that's going to motivate you, right? If you were trying to become the best entrepreneur possible, you listen to Gary, you listen to Grant, you listen to London Real, you listen to the kind of people that are going to put out the right content to cultivate that mindset. So in the same sense, chat with traders, YouTube videos, my YouTube channel, like all the content on the internet, you want to consume that type of content, create that force field of impenetrability around you because of the mindset that you're building based on the content. And I think that talking about that mindset, we should address the idea that breaking the rules should feel weird. If you build that mindset the right way, you'll understand that the ability to make money on a single trade doesn't really matter. It doesn't really impact how someone is going to look at you and say, are you a good trader or not? You really have to focus instead on showing the discipline to stay on edge. And where that comes into play is like knowing when to step on the gas because your market is there to kill it, and knowing when to say, my rules are not here. I do not want to break the rules. I don't want this. I need to stop. Get off the gas, walk out of the car, that kind of thing. So when you condition yourself to sustain that consistency, to build that growth mindset, you want to really kind of build this unfuckwithable mindset of like, hey, I know my rules work. I know this is the system that I'm going to trade. I know my risk reward. I know my stop loss. I know my entry. I know everything that I need to do. I don't give a fuck what anybody else is saying. I don't care where they're chasing trades. I don't care if gold is tanking today. dollars tank into the, I know my rules. I know what kind of risk reward that generates for me, and I'm unfuckwithable as I move through the market. That's the way you should think about it. On top of this, good is not going to cut it. This is from Mike Bellafiore. You guys know I love Mike. I have this book right here. He says this all the time, and I think it's a very true statement. Most of the people on this call, as sad as it is to say, I think most of you, more than 50% of you, will not make it as full-time traders. It's too hard. It's just the statistics of life. But if you can accept that on the jump in your first couple of years, you might actually be somebody that's going to make it. Because trading isn't impossible, but it also isn't easy. It requires a lot of mental discipline. And that isn't mental discipline that you're just born with. It's stuff that needs to be pushed every day. It's stuff that needs to be learned every day. It's stuff that needs to be worked on every single day. And if it's not, it's just not going to cut it. You're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to put in more hours. You're going to have to learn things that people are going to tell you, why the fuck are you learning that? Why are you trying to do that? But then 5 years later, they'll all be like, I knew you were going to do that. I'm so proud of you for learning that by yourself with no guidance. I'm so proud of you. You know what I mean? You're going to have to make those sacrifices because good is not going to cut it. You need to be great. You need to be willing to be great if you're going to build a life that you enjoy. And I think that that is the purpose of all of this, right? You want to avoid those fuck ups that we talked about earlier. You want to ignite the consistency, sustain the consistency, all to do what? To live a life that you enjoy. And part of that is the daily routine. If you don't enjoy that daily routine, you're not going to maintain it. If you're not sleeping right, you're not going to wake up with the right mindset to trade properly. If you're not eating right, you're not going to sleep right. If you're not exercising properly, you're not going to sleep right. It's all tied together. It is not one or the other. So you always have to be seeking out growth mentally, physically, emotionally, and trying to reach that level of peak performance that we know you need if you're going to make money consistently as a trader. So now that we've gone through the entire idea here, I just want to sum it up for you one more time. The two fuck ups that kill people the most. Number one is that they're not trading with a system. Number two is that they don't have a growth mindset. So what are you going to do? You're going to ignite the process by finding a system, whether it's deciding that you want to come on board today and you want to join the ASFX team, or if you go find another system, it doesn't matter to me. You need to find that system, find the rules, find the details that create your edge. Once you do that and you ignite the process, you then need to sustain the process, water the fucking plants, water the seeds you planted in your brain with the right content, with the right processes, with the right habits that we just spent the last 45 minutes talking about. Cool? You guys follow me so far? I want to go over a couple of trades with you, but if you have any questions,
Before you go over the trades.
The trades. Yeah.
Somebody said, how often do you review your markups?
Sundays. I try to. So the honest answer is not as often, right? Like I should do it more, but because I'm in the position that I'm in, which means I need to produce the markups for other people to see, I don't have as much time as I'd like to go back and review them. I justify that by saying, well, at least I'm doing a lot. So at least I'm seeing it. You know what I mean? I'll sit here for 2 hours and still do markups. So.
And then Harry just said, how do you deal with losses and how do you refocus and align yourself with plan?
Walking away. It's never fixed by sitting here and trying to do more. You get up and you walk out that door and you think about what's important to you and why you're doing what you do. It's all I need ever to get back on plan. I look around my house, I look at, like I'm not even being funny. I look around at Riley, I think about our future. I look at our cats, think about our kids in the future. I look at all this and I'm like, you're really gonna break the plan for that? That's it. Like that's all that I need.
Is 5K a good size for starting a real trading account as long as you know what you're doing?
Absolutely. I tell people $1,000 is fine because I deal with a lot of people on Instagram and stuff that don't have a lot of money. So I tell them 1,000 is a good amount to start with, because if you're going with a regulated broker, that $1,000 won't be allowed to be over leveraged. You won't be able to just blow it. You know what I mean? And on top of all that, you should always just start with an amount of money that you can afford to lose. Let's just say you decide to go off the rails, go balls to the wall, like that edge picture, you pull your pants off, get naked on the edge, you just start taking orders and blow your account. I mean, that can happen, but it's very difficult to do with a regulated broker. So I don't think you need more than 1,000, or you don't need more than 1,000. You could start with 1,000. I think you can always start with more though. You'll make more money. Flip a $100 account to a big one. No. Yeah, Sahan. So it's really hard, man. I would not be trying to trade with $100. If you can't trade with at least 1,000, you're going to be trading most likely with an unregulated broker, and then you're going to be using high leverage, which you're probably going to blow the account. I have never met a trader that started with an, unregulated broker and became a full-time trader. But I do know a lot of people that are telling you the same story that I told you over the last hour, which is I made a lot of mistakes. I saw people doing the right thing the whole time. I ignored it. And then I finally, after losing enough money, decided to get on the right path. And then 5 years later, it paid off. But most people don't want to commit to the 5-year plan. But I'm like, 5 years later, I don't have a boss. We get to travel once a month. Like, it's worth it. What other questions here?
What is realistic profit percentage, weekly or monthly?
I say 10 to 20% a month is very conservative. I'm up 26% this month.
Seeking funding from online prop firms?
No, not for me, right? A lot of people ask me that. Literally, I had a guy, a friend of mine. I don't need the prop firms. I have rich friends, thankfully, right now. The rich friends want to give me money and I don't want it. I want to teach people. I want to make people financially free right now. I can go manage money when I'm older. I got the energy right now to give back to you guys. Like, this shit fires me up. I woke up today, I put my headphones in and I was getting ready. Like, this is a track meet. I was ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, I really want to give it to you guys because I got Ryan out of his job now. I mean, he's probably one of, I would say, 30 to 50 people that I know have traded with me and are now not working a regular job from all over the world. People in India, people in Singapore, people in China, people in South America. We have people in Ireland. Like, that is very impactful to me, more than taking money from somebody and trading it just right now. All right, so we're gonna go over, David, David just sent me a message here. He said, can we go over some indicators? Yes, absolutely. Why don't I trade gold? Yeah, well, see, like, all right, one more thing. I value the fulfilling piece more than I value the money, because we don't need a lot of money to live. We're both cheap as fuck. Like, I wear socks with holes in them still.
I still cut out coupons.
Yeah, we clip coupons. We don't need a lot of money. And now we're trying to save for our future. So it's like, we want our kids to have that money. We want to put businesses in place for our kids, not spend money on a fancy car. Like, I'm hating the day when I have to give up my cheap ass car payments on my Honda. People are lost in the sauce, bro. They're buying a Mercedes, spending all that money. Like, we don't need to go there. That's not what this webinar is for. How do I feel about naked Forex trading? I think it works, Spencer, but I think what we do is a little bit more precise. Naked trading can work. I've seen people make money with it, but if you like indicators and you want something to kind of give you a little bit more of like training wheels, like a little more guidance, you're gonna like this. So let me show you some markups here, guys. Let me pull this over to the side. Tommy said, oh, last question for now. Tommy said, why don't I trade gold? So here's where I'm at on gold. As of today, which is what, February 29th, the leap year day. I can't trade gold with Owanda because it's a CFD. CFDs are banned by regulated brokers here in the United States ever since Dodd-Frank Act in 2008. But IC Markets is now a regulated broker that can be picked up here in the United States. So I might be going over to them at some point this year after I get this seminar stuff done next month. And I might be going to them to try to trade some indices, try to trade some gold, see what I can do over there. But I need to go test that before I come to you guys and say, go do this. I would never do that. One more question. Do you prepare to record a webinar? Yes. You can definitely have this recorded. You spend, Benji, I don't spend a lot of time analyzing. I find something that I like and I wait for it to tell me what to do. So I create the if-then statement around the trade. So this is what I'm talking about. This is a D2 or D1 trade on GBP NZD. So this was the second trade that I took on that GBP NZD markup you just saw a few minutes ago. I added into the position here. This came down. I waited for this to come down because it was building divergence. If you're in course, if you're in our team, you know I love to trade off the divergence entry signals. As that divergence builds, I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. So how long does it take? I've waited for an hour and a half to 2.5 hours sometimes for divergence to finally break the level I needed to break to take my precise entry signal. But if it doesn't break, I'll just keep waiting and I just won't trade. That's where I'm better than everybody else. I won't just throw a trade on a different pair or just get frustrated and then start jabbing at it the other way. I'll wait. I'm like just waiting there for it to come to me and I'll just hit it once and hit it hard. You know what I mean? Here's another trade. This was my big Euro CAD trade on Wednesday. So this was a D1 off the bottom. 1% risk. My stop, you can see, was 7.3 pips. At 28 pips, right here near that 800 EMA, was like somewhere on its way up there. I had already been up 4%, so I closed most of the trade, and it ended up running, as you can see, I was up 70 pips in this trade. I'm showing you these entry signals here, and back with this one here, I'm up 21 pips, just showing you that these are the precision These are the precise entry signals that we teach with the course. And as you can see, very little drawdown here, right? This chopped for a little bit, but then moved very quickly. Very little drawdown here, and it moves quickly. So with these trades, you don't have to sit in them and wait for them. You know what I mean? This is the big trade that everybody was talking about. This was my EuroCAD swing trade back from the 20th. If you're following me on social media, you saw I closed this yesterday for like 480, but at the most here, I got 587. I got a picture of it. Just a crazy rip here. But I only had 1% on this, and I had most of it closed. But even at that point, when I was carrying just a 1/4% into the weekend, a 1/4% that goes 480 pips, you could still make a lot of money when you have a good position size on it. So now you see me starting to swing some of these trades, even all off the same analysis, all off these same 3 precise entry signals, and with risk management rules. Here's the kicker. Hold on, Ryan, we have some questions. We could talk about this.
Yeah, well, somebody in relation to your last trade, somebody said, are you skeptical if a trade presents in 5 minutes? Because you said how sometimes you're waiting like an hour and a half.
Good question. Definitely can talk about that. Let me just finish my point here. What I was going to say, the kicker with this is because I have risk management rules, I actually posted my current rules because I'm always trying to change. I posted them in the VIP group for our members. The rules say to move my stop loss into profit, but to not close the entire trade because you don't know how far some of these trades will run. You can always have a piece of these trades on and let it go. And that's exactly what I did here. Just waited and waited and waited. It didn't give me an exit. So why would I take the full trade off? If I have a fucking great price, I mean, this trade could still go higher for the whole month. I could have had the bottom for the year. Who knows? You know what I mean? That's the power of good technical analysis. Plus, you add some risk reward strategies, risk reward details like we do with our systems, and then you'll know how to hold these trades actually, as you can see, I was able to do here. You take more risks in your A setups? Absolutely, AK. Yeah, absolutely. So Femi said, if it only presents in 5 minutes, will I still take the trade? Probably not, especially if it's a divergence trade like a D1 or a D2. I let those build a little bit because it's very much a pullback trade, like I said, and I want to make sure that level is set and we're coming off that level to continue an overall trend. I don't need to rush those trades. But the A1 entry, if that presents candle close, boom, I'm in the trade. I know where the stop goes. I'm looking for 2 to 1 at least. It's that simple. I want to go into just a few things. I don't like to stroke myself, but I'm going to stroke myself here in front of you guys, as nasty as that sounds. Yeah, it's what I said. Alex is a new guy. He just started with us a couple of weeks ago. You can read the review. I mean, he's fucking killing it. And I'm not just saying that to you guys. I've never had anybody like him pick this up within a week and start doing what he's doing, 4 figures in a week. I mean, it's rare to see that type of stuff, but it's not the only one. Here's a guy, Tim, who just signed up 2 days ago. You can read his review. I mean, look what he said. I've been live trading for 6 months, following several courses, some good, some not so good. What I found that was from course to course, mentor to mentor, all I did was add more confusion. And I see that very, very often. But then when he finally was able to dive into our course, he's loving it. He said, I tried a few beginner entries, nice and simple, and they worked to a treat. I love it. So today, I want to let you guys know as we're kind of coming to the end of this. The offer is for 15 of you. That's it. I'm giving you the beginner course, the VIP chat, and the new advanced divergence course. And I'm going to throw in something special for you, all for a really good price. But I want to show you again another trader who's been on our team for a while, somebody who Riley and I love very much, Gwendolyn. She's out in California. She came to our Philly seminar. She's like a devoted trader, more than most people are. Like, she's a devotee, you know what I'm saying? She was with a different group, Falcon something, came to us, has found nothing but success with us, and I'm watching her grow, and it's beautiful. Dennis is another guy. He's down in Florida. He was with us at, look, his profile picture is the, he's got the Philly seminar shirt on. I love it. So, yeah, I mean, you can read his review here. So yeah, the beginner course, it's what you guys are going to get today. This is two new guys that actually just came on. He said it's better than Q Banks' course. Halfway through chapter 5, I've never had this much education in my 2 years of trading. I don't like to stroke myself, but I'm trying to show you guys that this is the real deal. Sam Webster said, I've been trading for 2.5 years with a different company, and I wish I would have found this group earlier. Taking this seriously, guys, I told you, I'm here to see you succeed. That's my goal. Here's some reviews on the advanced course. Alex, again, just saying how much he loves the D1 entries, right? Mark here. Mark's out in France, I believe. Mark's killing it, man. Mark bought the divergence course because he's in the VIP. I gave him early access. 2 days later, Mark is trading the divergence entries. And I'm like, Mark, I thought you were having issues watching this. He's like, no, I got through it, and he's killing it. I'm like, damn, man. And like, I I hate saying, I'm not just saying this, but I don't know how else to paint the picture for you guys that real people are picking this up and real people are making money with this. So I don't want to sound like I'm scammy. I don't want to sound like I'm salesy, but I want you to see like this is real human beings messaging me, telling me that they're thankful for me actually coaching them through this and getting them to be able to be in a position to make more money. Andrew, a guy who I love, it's my brother right here, who's been with us for 5 years. Like, you read what he said. He's seen it all. He's seen the whole growth of everything. He's seen every system, everything. Timmy, brand new with us. Course is fire. I'm only in the advanced entries, but he loves it. Cam and Jace, 2 new guys with us. Jace loves the community. Cam loves the community. I think the community is a big thing, guys. The accountability in the community for me to be able to say like, hey, Jace, you said you weren't going to trade that way. Why are you trading that way now? Right there, people will say, Austin, why are you being an asshole coming at him? I'm not. I'm holding you accountable. I'm trying to help you grow. That's what this community is for. Tyler, another new guy with us, he literally bought the course and was like, I'm going to try to get through it in a week. He couldn't stop watching it because it's only 5 hours. So the beginner course, he crushed it and then just started trading the next day. And literally, read what he said. I've been profitable, so I focused, and now I'm back to break even month to date. Ryan, another one of my guys out in Vegas, he loved the divergence course. He was the first one to buy it, the first one to see it. He said the new advanced course is hands down the best course yet. Alex, again, brother, always with the good reviews. I love it. Abdel, he's brand new, laying low, but this guy's going to kill it. You keep your eye out for this dude. I swear, I think he might be the next big guy on our team. Guys, thank you again for being here. Omri, AK, Harry, Marlene, Lendell, everybody. I appreciate you guys so much for being here. The guys who won the monitors, congratulations. Everybody who's new to the team, welcome to the team. I'll see you Monday morning in the VIP chat. Hopefully, take your time working through the beginner course. And once you're finished the beginner course, you'll get that link to join the VIP chat. Marsha, thank you. Sid, thank you. Dominic, you guys are awesome. All right, family. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Saturday. I will see you guys in the next one.